Okay, now I want to show you uh, how this knowledge advisor can be used in order to put some uh, logic and intelligence into a part design situation. Now, all the only place where I've used this thing for the past 2 weeks was just this week, where I had to write a few lines of code which involved conditional if statements. And otherwise, the problems that we solved, which required some formulas, we could do it in the f of x workbench. However, here's the situation that I want to look at. Uh, I will be making a part like this, and the three things that are of interest to me are the radii of these two fillets down here and the radius of the circle. Okay, and essentially I want to say that when I specify a parameter in CATIA, if that parameter is less than 1, I want the radius of the circle to be that parameter, my r, and the fillet radii to be 2 times uh, mi r, my r. Okay. If my r is 1, I don't want any fillets up there. The radius of the circles, this should be my r. On the other hand, if this is not met and that is not met, I want the radius of these to be 0.5 fixed and this still to be my r. The moral of the story is this. You want to be able to define a parameter in CATIA that you can actually see it in the tree. And you can go and change that parameter. Let's call it my r, that my r parameter. If that my r that you input in the tree is less than 1, I want this condition to be met. The radius of the circle to be my r, and the fillet radii on the top to be 2 times my r. If my r that you input in the tree is 1, I don't want any fillets up there. And finally, if my r is bigger than 1, I want the radii of the fillet to be 0.5, but of course the circle radius is always my r. That's what we want to do. Okay, so the key is, essentially, I want to have a situation like that where there is a parameter that it's called my r, the name of it is my r, and you can go change it from here or from somewhere else, and those things change accordingly. Now, in order to make sure that this actually shows up in your tree, you have to go through tools options, tools and go to the infrastructure, part infrastructure, display tab, and activate essentially the first, the last two, but activate all three of them. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and show you how this thing is working. Let me start with the part file. Okay. So on this horizontal plane, I will sketch, something like this. All right. And I will put a circle here at the center of it and make corners or fillets here. So you make sure that this circle is not selected. Select this corner, put a radii there, and select the other corner, put another radii there. Obviously, I want these to be, both of them, the same, equal to, according to that rule that I showed you. And I want some dimension on this circle because I want to change its radius depending on what the value of my r parameter is. So there we are. Okay, exit and pad it. Okay, that's fine. Let me hide these trees because I don't need them. All right. Now, first of all, How do you create parameters? That's the first step. So you go to the knowledge toolbar. We are in part design. Remember the f of x? You click on it. And down here, see at the bottom left corner, it says new parameter that you can create, and they're different type, okay? But I want the parameter of type length. That's what it was. And I click on it, new parameter, just click on this. It's going to give it the name, default name, length1. Now, I don't want length1. I want it to be called MYR, my R. And I don't want my R to be 0. I'll make it 0.5. All right, and then apply. Notice that in the list of all the stuff that you've got, something has been created called my R. The value is 0.5. By the way, you can filter this out to rename parameters. That only the parameters that you create are going to appear. You can do another one. It's going to be length 2, and then you can change the name and length 3, or you can create parameters of different type, but that's all we want to do right now. In the next 2 weeks, you will be using this kind of a thing many times, okay? And don't be surprised if you have a problem where you have to parameterize your model according to a simple rule or a complicated rule, as we're discussing now. Okay, good. Now the question is, well, where is it? Where is this thing in the tree? Remember I showed you what to do. You go to Tools, go to Options, under Infrastructure, under Part Infrastructure, select the Display tab, and I said make sure that these are checked. I don't need the constraints, and just to convince you, I just leave it out. But I mean, if you want, you can activate all of these, but I don't need it right there. See that? There. Now you can go here and change this value at your wish. For example, 0.2, and it's going to change to 0.2. It doesn't know how it's related to this model yet. And that's what you have to do, of course. Now, there's another way to change this value if you want. You can go back to f of x. Notice that if you filter it according to rename right there, and for example, when you select this, you can change this thing, if you want, back to 0.5. And then apply. Notice that in the tree, change to 0.5. So you can reach it from the tree, or you can go to f of x. It doesn't matter. Now, so to write simple formulas, all you need to do is go to f of x, for example, say all of them, all parameters of the part, okay? And any one of them you can select and say add the formula, etc., etc. You can do that, we know that. But our formula is more complicated because it has to follow this logic. So we can't do it like that, or it's hard to do it like that. Let's put it this way. So what we're going to do is we go here, and we're going to go to Knowledge Advisor. So Knowledge Where? Knowledge Advisor. In this toolbar, which is called Reactive Features, I have no idea why it's called Reactive Feature. I told you in class. You click on Rule, just the name that you give it. You say OK, and this thing pops up. Now, if you select anywhere on this part, all these dimensions that you have put in there are going to appear. Remember, you put 2 fillet radii, radius of the circle, and of course the palette height that I don't need it. Incidentally, let me change this thing to wireframe so that you can see them better, right there. Okay. So then we're going to start writing our code. If my R, now if you want to type my R, you can do that, or you can click on this, click on the tree, for example, it's going to come over here. Or on the rename parameter, you can double click on this, it's going to put it there. But anyway, if this is less than, excuse me, 1 inch, enter. There are 3 things that I want to specify: the radius of the circle, the radius of the fillets. Okay, so because there's 3 things that are to be specified, you need to use braces. Okay, And if you say parameter, all parameter, okay, you basically you can select it from the tree also. So you select, let's say this fillet. This is the fillet right there. Fillet radii equal to 2 times my r. Enter. The other guy equal to 2 times my r. Enter. And this is the circle, radius of the circle, equal to MYR, or you can get it from the tree either way. And close the braces. Close the braces. Good. Enter. If, oh, sorry, else, if my R, I got it from there, or you can type it, equal to, now, if you let it as equal to 1 inch, you're going to get error messages. Equal to 1 inch. Enter. But before I go any further, let me go to the slide. This slide. What is the difference between equal to and equal? Equal is used to assign a value. Equal is used for comparison between two variables or constant. That's why when you say else if my r equal to, it's going to go crazy. Okay, you're comparing. So let's go back. That's why this should be equal to. Okay, enter. Enter. Oops, where is it? Enter. Okay, braces. Now in this situation, I want this thing to be 0 inches, no fillet. That guy to be 0 inches. Of course, that last fellow, the circle is always, that's just the wrong spot here. That is always my R, because the radius of the circle. Well, if you want to be 0, of course, you just set it equal to 0, no problem. Close the braces. Else, that's the last condition. Open the braces. This guy to be 0.5, constant 0.5, independent of what the value of my R is. This guy also to be 0.5, equal to 0.5, once again independent of the value of my R. But of course, this last radius is to be equal to my R. Close the braces. Now, if you prefer that these are all tabbed so that it's easier to read, okay, let me do that for you. There we are. And hopefully we haven't made any mistakes. So let me just say, okay, no mistakes. Now, just to convince you, you go there, double click on the rule. If I take one of these equals out, so just equal, look at what you're going to get. There. It says, hey, you're comparing my R with something. Don't use equal. That's what this thing means. So let's put it back. Equal, and say okay. Okay, so let's check it out. Here's the value of my R. It is less than 5, less than 1, correct? So the circle radius must be 0.5. Let's measure it. Where is the caliper? Let's go back to the part design. Okay, the caliper is over here. This circle better be 0.5, right there. You can see that. This guy should be, these radii, these are fillet radii should be 1 because it's double of that. This is 1 and this is 1. Good.